The call lasted less than a minute. A voice, trembling, desperate, unmistakably familiar, a daughter crying for help, a demand for money, a warning not to tell anyone. By the time the line went dead, the damage was already done. It started quietly, small reports scattered across different states, families receiving strange calls, parents hearing their children's voices, begging, panicking, pleading. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Phone scams weren't new, but this was different. These voices weren't robotic. They weren't distorted. They sounded real, perfectly real. New York, late 2023. A mother receives a call in the middle of the day. Her daughter's voice on the other end, shaking, terrified. She says she's been in an accident, that she hurt someone, that she needs money immediately. Then a man takes over the call, calm, controlled. He explains the situation, legal trouble, urgency. The amount is large but believable. There's no time to think, no time to verify, only time to act. Within hours, the money is gone. But hours later, the daughter calls back, safe, normal, confused. And that's when everything begins to unravel. At first, investigators assume coincidence, maybe a lucky guess, maybe social engineering. But then the reports multiply. California, Texas, Florida, different families, same pattern, a loved one's voice, a crisis, a demand, and always urgency. What no one realized was that this wasn't just a scam. It was something new. Behind the scenes, a different kind of weapon was being built, not with code alone, but with data, short audio clips, social media videos, voicemails, interviews, casual conversations uploaded online, pieces of a voice collected over time and then reconstructed. AI voice cloning. At first, it was a novelty, a tool for entertainment, podcasts, dubbing, content creation. But in the wrong hands, it became something else, a perfect imitation. The kind that doesn't just sound like someone, it feels like them. The tone, the pauses, the emotion, even the fear. And once that barrier was broken, the system scaled. Cheap software, publicly available tools, no need for advanced skills, just a voice sample and a target. Then the calls began, one after another. A father in Chicago wires thousands after hearing his son's voice, whispering through tears. A business owner transfers company funds after a call from what sounds like his own CEO. A grandmother hands over her savings, trying to save her grandson from a situation that never existed. Each story almost identical, each victim absolutely convinced, because the voice never lied. It couldn't. It was real, or at least real enough. And that's what made it dangerous. Traditional scams relied on deception. This relied on trust, deep, emotional, instinctive trust, the kind that bypasses logic, the kind that doesn't ask questions. By the time anyone noticed, it was too late. Millions had already been transferred, accounts emptied, savings gone, lives disrupted. But the most unsettling part, there was no central mastermind, no single organization to shut down, just a network, decentralized, global, invisible, online forums sharing techniques, underground groups trading voice data, scripts and templates optimized for panic, a system learning, improving, evolving faster than anyone could track. And while authorities scrambled to respond, the technology kept moving forward. Voice models became more accurate, more emotional, more human. Detection tools struggled to keep up, because how do you prove a voice isn't real? How do you question something you've trusted your entire life? Then everything changed. A case in Arizona. A mother receives the call, her daughter's voice crying, screaming, but this time something feels off. A hesitation, a slight mismatch in tone, barely noticeable but enough. Instead of reacting, she pauses. She calls her daughter directly. No answer. The line is busy. The pressure builds. The voice on the other end becomes more aggressive, more urgent, more desperate. But she waits. Minutes later, her daughter calls back safe, unharmed, real. And in that moment, a pattern breaks. For the first time, someone doesn't believe the voice. That hesitation becomes the turning point. Awareness spreads, news reports surface, authorities issue warnings, verify before you act, don't trust the voice alone. But even then, the damage continues, because awareness doesn't erase instinct, and instinct is exactly what this system exploits. Today, the calls haven't stopped. They've evolved, smarter scripts, better timing, more convincing emotions. Sometimes it's a child, sometimes a boss, a partner, a friend. The identity changes, the method remains. A voice you trust, a moment of panic, a decision you can't take back. On the surface, everything still feels normal. Phones ring, voices speak, people respond. But behind the scenes, something fundamental has shifted. The human voice, once the most reliable form of identity, is no longer proof of anything. And in a world where anyone can sound like anyone, the question isn't whether it will happen again.